This is the Revved Up Sports Show with Bobby Chaffee.
We do have this nice little format that we try to follow every week. We don't usually follow it.
And Rodney Rodriguez.
Entertain me. Tell me something. I need to know something other than what I'm seeing.
Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Here's Bobby and Rodney.
When they wave the green flag, you take off. Black flag means get the hell off the track. Get the hell off the track on the black flag. That's it. You understand me? Tell me about the checker flag. I wouldn't worry about that checkered flag if I was you, boy.
Oh, is that what they say? Don't worry about the checkered flag. That is what it's all about. And this is the Revved Up Sports Show, live and in charge from Texas. Opposite sides of the world. Down south, it is Showtime. Bobby Chaffee. I'm Rodney Rodriguez up north, and we will bring you some fantastic #Real Race Talk coming up for the next hour and a half or so. 6:30, we will rehash Mobile with Gina Shile-Knowles, and then at 7 o'clock, we talk to Jake Garcia coming off of just an amazing win over at Montgomery. Really good stuff right there. Robert, how's your day, my friend?
Not too bad for a Monday. I wouldn't think so. So far, so good. Traffic coming back south was a little rough. Doesn't feel like a pandemic in progress, but at least according to 35 on the drive into Austin and the drive away from Austin doesn't feel like a pandemic. But, other than being in the low 90s, everybody's got their best wishes coming back from Mobile. So it seems like all in all, it was a pretty good weekend out there.
Yeah, it was, man. It was just a fantastic time out at the track. I mean, just it was really cool. I mean, it was really cool, honestly, to just see a bunch of the folks from there, that were so excited that the place was opened up. We'll talk about that with Gina here in just a little bit, but I got to tell you, man, and all of you, feel free to jump in and let's chat, man. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. But man, I'm really feeling for these tracks in Texas, man, because weather has just destroyed the last, I guess it's been 3 weeks. I mean, had I not gone to Mobile this week, I'd have been off again. And you were off. I mean, Texana wasn't racing. Pretty rough, man. I think we're finally getting, on Mother's Day weekend, when everybody's off, I think we're finally getting a good weekend.
It is ironic how that works when everybody's off for Mother's Day. The time flies and it ends up working quite well. But we'll see who's all opening. Looks like they changed a little bit of the schedule there for South Texas Speedway, which is fine, which is pretty good because they were deciding that they were going to race and work with I-37. So that's good news to have. But it looks like the last couple of weeks, I guess you're right, 3 weeks since the 17th.
Yeah.
Everybody's been kind of rained out there, so that's not looking good for the bottom line for some of these racetracks.
It's been horrible. It's been a lot of it. But I did see, so Heart of Texas, we will be racing over at Heart of Texas on Friday. And man, check this out. So Heart of Texas on Friday, we get a demolition derby. Man, that's throwing it back right there.
Now, if only they realize that the demolition derby is not the same demolition derby that's going on the construction right in front of that place, that'd be okay. I know a lot of people would still like to bang the cars in front of them after being stuck in traffic for quite a while if they're on northbound 35.
Yeah, pretty horrible over there when you're trying to get there. But so that'll be fun, full card of racing. And I saw that 105 is doing a test and tune on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday from 6 to 9 as they're still working to get all of their the balance of their schedule put together. So it will be a quiet weekend. It will be a quiet weekend. But hey, you get the NASCAR throwback. That'll be fun to do on Sunday. But I mean, it's all about the moms. Take care of the moms, man. That's most important. Whoa, nice. I like that.
Is that mine or yours?
That's mine.
No. I was like, damn, I thought I turned everything off. No, it's a good time. It's a good time to throw back. They're finally releasing a couple of throwbacks. So the one that I still don't understand is the JTG 37. The one that's like, it's a nod to Ricky Craven's Darlington winner. And all it has is, it's got Tide on it. That's about as close as they got with it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be fun. So that'll be the gist of what we get. Have to start off, man, we lost Bobby Unser. And that's one of those guys where it doesn't matter the discipline. If you've been a race fan for a long time, Bobby Unser is a guy. The Unzers. I mean, one of what is it? I think 9 or 10 guys that have won the Indy 500 3 times. I mean, I remember the year there with our man Mario, where it came down to it at the end, and there was an Unser wins, and no, he doesn't. Mario wins, and all of that happened. But that's a tragic loss right there. A great family. And a great competitor with Bobby Unser.
Yeah, definitely the Unzers are one of the pillars of the motorsports community, whether it be, regardless of where they were. But Bobby Unser, one of one of the founding members of the Unser clan over there with the racers, along with Big Al and Little Al Unser. But they were a force to be reckoned with back in the day, and he had a stout record there with the Indy cars, especially his love with the Indianapolis 500 and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So that was I won't say the death come as a shock. By no means, he was up in age by far, and so I don't think that came as a shock to anybody. But anytime you lose a racing legend like a Bobby Unser, you take a minute and you think about it, and you just think about all the good times you had watching him. Not only as a racer, but he's pretty damn good commentator too. There for a little bit.
Yeah, he really was. He really was. Kind of called it like he saw it, and that's really what you want out of something like that. And also Eric McClure, I saw that Bruce posted that on there, and that one more of a shocker right there. I mean, that's young, and that I guess that's where you go back to, you appreciate every day, and when those feet hit the floor, it's you got to be thankful every day, because it can end just that fast. So very sad there as well. So I'm assuming the McClure stuff that's going to be throughout the week. We'll see tributes and so forth. And now that we're into May, I mean, we're May 3rd, I guess is what we are now. I would think with Indianapolis this year and Penske. Of course, Unser was a Penske guy. I would foresee that there'll be quite the tribute there to Bobby. When we get to Indianapolis. Dang it! Sorry about that.
No, I think so. I mean, did you know I was listening to it on the way in with Dave Moody and our friends over at SiriusXM Speedway, and I didn't realize Eric McClure has 7 kids.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids, and that's the harder part. I mean, that's really the harder part there. When you start thinking about that, where those kiddos are going to be going through life without a parent, and that's tough. That's tough. So we obviously our thoughts there going to those folks there. But it's got to be a good weekend when you come off the weekend, and we can say that Dave Mader. Dave Mader had that great run at Talladega. He comes out and he wins over at Montgomery. He wins the late model sportsman race, and how cool is that, man? Talk about back-to-back weekends there for the legend, Mr. Mader, 1978 Snowball Derby winner. When it's in your blood, it just never goes away.
It never does. I think it gets worse. Like, I think when you get into it when you're young, you spend all your time and your money in it, and you don't want to do anything else. And then you try to start your family, and you get concentrated on your family for a little bit, and then you don't want to do anything else, and all of a sudden you get back into racing. Mm-hmm. Then you get back in. Like you and I joke about it all the time. Every time we try to step away from racing, by the next time we get back, we're in deeper than we were before.
Yeah.
And so, I think Dave Mader's the same way, despite, you notice some of those old timers, they may not race in the upper leagues anymore,
still doing it, man.
The Infinities, but they'll be racing somewhere on some weekend, and he's definitely one of the hot shoes. All in all, lots of good action in Montgomery last weekend.
Well, and then, at the Joe Shear Classic, I mean, you get another one. I mean, Rich Bickle never won that race. I was surprised. I'm surprised to hear that. And he wins that Joe Shear Classic, and he's got the Joe Shear, the 36, got the font and everything on there. So when you talk about a feel-good weekend, we get the old lady woken up at Mobile, and then when you have Mader and Rich Bickle Jr. winning, I mean, it's a pretty feel-good weekend right there.
I think so. I mean, I think all in all, I think the Southeast is having a resurgence, if you will, because there for a while it was kind of tough deals there for Montgomery. They weren't getting the car counts and stuff that they needed to help sustain that place, and now with the series coming in there and working real good, they've got they got a lot of had a pretty decent car count there for modifieds last weekend for the modifieds of Mayhem, and obviously with the pro late models and the sportsmen's and stuff like that running this particular weekend up there at Mobile, then I think they finally found their groove a little bit.
And that's for Bickle, winning that one. I mean, he wins that race, and I mean, you had Casey Johnson was in that race, and you had Ty Majeski in that race, so that wasn't anything where, and I think Ty was in the top 10, and Casey may have had some problems or whatever the case may have been, but he goes out there, and a couple of the real heavy hitters that we, quote unquote heavy hitters that we talk about in, pavement late model racing. I mean, those guys are on the scene, and you get a guy that goes out there, and we saw Bickle at Snowball. I mean, he's still he's still got that get up and go right there.
He does, especially when they had that. I guess it was 2 years ago when they had that wreck in the
Burton.
last chance
Yeah.
qualifier. He's wanting to whoop somebody's ass. He just
Yeah.
didn't know which ass he wanted to whip.
Yeah. We saw something today, and this is where we've talked so many times on the show about the money involvement, and Rafael Lessard is a very good wheelman. I mean, Bobby, you and we met him over there a few years back at Pensacola, and he'd been doing some truck stuff there, but boom, abruptly that ends. And the underlying thing there, I mean, I think when that tweet comes out and everybody sees that, you have an idea what happens. And I think I did see that it was affirmed that it was a sponsorship issue, but there is that dynamic of having to have that money behind you to be able to race in these larger series right there. And when that well goes dry or for whatever reason it stops for a period of time, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's time for the next person. I mean, it's time for the next person to get in the truck. I mean, they haven't determined who it's going to be, but I'm sure there's people with a checkbook and a pen that have someone that they're ready to pencil into that ride next.
I think so. I mean, I think it'll end up being the potentially may get announced later. Ryan Reed was supposed to come through and be the next man up in that particular ride, as you said, with the next check rider, so you speak. It's strange to see how that works. Obviously, the way GMS is structured, we don't know how they're done or anything like that. But I think that it's also an interesting way that they have their program working, just because of the fact that you don't see a lot of sponsorship over there with GMS this year, despite the fact that Sheldon Creed comes in as the defending series champion.
Yeah, and that's just the dynamics of it. I mean, we're seeing a lot of money being piped into the upper series, and I mean, I think that's going to continue because the product is good in the Cup Series. I mean, say what you want about everything, and by the way, that next gen thing comes out on Wednesday, I believe, but I mean that's really where that money is going because the product is better and TV ratings are better, and that's just the dynamic of it, and you do wish that this could trickle down a little bit, but that's where we hope that tie between the short track racing and the upper echelon series, where it's going to tie back together. I mean, even when you get World of Outlaws compared to regular weekly dirt track racing, I mean, all of that, you want the trickle down effect, and hopefully that's going to happen, because it does seem as money's starting to free up again, as we are getting back to normal, and business really is good, and the economy is whatever better. It seems like that money is coming back, but it's really going right to the top.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they were talking about obviously NASCAR has loosened up some of the restrictions they have for some of the hospitality. That's going to start this weekend coming up at Darlington. Obviously, they've gone through and have access with you must be vaccinated and stuff, which we found out the hard way, so to speak, on that deal. But yeah, I mean, I think everything is loosening back up. You're starting to see it. What is it? I guess today, big picture wise, New York City workers went back to work today.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just starting to see it all over the place with some sense of normalcy coming back, and hopefully, all in all, everything starts getting back the way it was. Say what you want to about the grandstands at all these Cup races, although not so much at the IndyCar races over the weekend at Texas Motor Speedway. But while there was a good crowd, if you noticed, every Cup race has been sold out.
Sure.
Granted,
yeah.
you're looking at limited capacity, but I mean, as far as they're selling every single ticket they can sell for almost every race, for a truck race, an Xfinity race, and especially the Cup races.
And I think that it's good because folks are missing out. And man, I got to tell you about the Mobile thing with people wanting to get in there. We'll talk about that here with Gina in just a little bit. But I think it's really playing out nicely for NASCAR and some of these series, to where it is limited and people are missing out. And maybe this is where we're going to see, we're going to start seeing those. I mean, the stands look like they did before, because even at full capacity, it was limited, and people joke about that, but I mean, even at limited capacity, it looks somewhat normal. And I think that as we hopefully begin moving forward, that's going to have that allure, to where people are going to want to come back, and short tracks are doing a nice job because short tracks are full, and that's a good thing, but people are being smart. I mean, I will say people are, we have to ease into this. I mean, we do have to ease into this and just kind of be smart, just be respectful. And I did see that because I stopped in, a couple of different states at various points over the last whatever. And there were, a couple of times that I wore a mask in out of habit, nobody said anything to me. Nobody did anything weird. And there were times where I may have didn't wear a mask because nobody else was, and there were people in masks, and people were treating them just fine. So I think that respect factor is something that hopefully, we'll continue moving forward. Everybody's just going to get along, and everything is going to be fine.
Well, I think so. I mean, you saw it this weekend. There were crowds everywhere. The Kentucky Derby had an outstanding crowd. You saw a great crowd over there for the Kentucky Derby. Not a lot of mask in sight for there. You saw it with what a hell of a crowd they had in Cleveland for the NFL draft on Thursday night.
Yeah.
You did see more masks there, but supposedly everybody that was on the floor there for the main stage there, so to speak, for the draft were supposed to be all vaccinated. But and I think it's really weird how people were losing their minds when Atlanta Motor Speedway finally just come up and said, hey, look, we're going to open at 100% capacity. Now, do I think they're going to be a complete sellout in Atlanta? I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think it's realistic to think they're going to completely sell out. Even Eddie Gossage, who said, he talks about the front stretch of Texas Motor Speedway holding 135,000 people. While there's no limit to how many tickets they can sell other than capacity, he doesn't anticipate them selling all. He may cap it off. He didn't say they were going to cap it off, but he said, even if we get 80,000 people in here, we'll be able to social distance quite nicely with the sides of the grandstands up there at TMS. So you're starting to see it all over the place, which is good. It's glad to get back open. It's glad to,
for sure.
Glad to get back to normal.
Yeah. Hey, Chad Deere checking in right there, and I want to give that dude, a pat on the back and an attaboy and whatever you want to call it. I mean, I roll up Friday. Chad Deere comes up, and the dude's all taped up. He's got a couple of fingers taped up. These are 2 fingers. Don't at me. Guys out there mounting tires and doing all this other stuff. He busts 2 fingers up, breaks 2 fingers, and they get him stitched up. And he said that they laid out a table full of pills for him to take, and he's like, "Ooh, hold on here, hold on." Got him all fixed up. I mean, luckily there was a medic there. Obviously, you have to have a medic on site. They get him all fixed up, and when I talked to him, his first concern was, yeah, I'm going to go get some rest so I can get back here tomorrow and get at it. And those 424 guys, man, we got them back here on the hood. I mean, those guys have just been – that's good people right there. They have dove into this shit, and they just they sell out, man. They sell out. I posted that that crew was warriors. And that dude right there, the corn dog man, is top of the charts right there. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, all kind of good work for everybody at 4T4 Racing. They've also come through and put a good spirit there in Houston. So nice to see the guys getting some credit that they deserve.
Bobby, I have to tell you this. I told a couple of people over when I got to Mobile. Man, I'm driving out of Round Rock early Saturday morning or Friday morning, and man, people that are here close know. I mean, it was nonstop rain for me all the way past Beaumont. I mean, I finally got through Beaumont, right at the state line, and that's where everything started to soften up. But I got a really cool on this trip on the way down there. I got a really cool souvenir, dude, and you will appreciate it because, dude, the Bandit finally got in Waller County. They got the Bandit.
Oh, did you?
They got the Bandit.
Did Smokey finally got a hold of you? I didn't know that already.
They got the Bandit. The Bandit.
Yeah, you kept that. What was your? Were you in the construction zone when it happened? You didn't have anybody running the lane for you?
The Bandit, yeah, something. The Bandit was going 65 or was going 85 and a 65, which that's normal. I mean, hell, I was taking it easy, and but we were in a torrential downpour. We're in a torrential downpour, and the tricky part about it was, how I drive, so I'm going, and about the time that I see Smokey, I jammed the brakes, but I mean, it was too late. I mean, the vision was messed up because it was one of those where it was raining so hard. I mean, you people were like pulling over and running the hazards, but I didn't see him on time, dude. My reflections were too slow. Damn it.
Well, I mean, it happens on occasion. I mean, I'm surprised he actually pulled you over if it was raining that hard.
He said,
was it a county mountie or was it DPS?
A county mountie. He said, any reason in particular that you're driving so fast in these conditions? I said, sir, this is, I said, no, it's just the way I drive. And he laughed, and he's like, well, I appreciate the honesty. He said, in a lot of cases we give warnings. He said, but in this downpour, I cannot give you a warning. I'm going to be citing you. Dude's talking and talking and talking, and it's pouring down rain. I'm like, dude, can you go right this damn thing so I can put my window up? I mean, my lap is wet. My car's all wet. Everything's wet. I'm like, dude, just go right the thing. go ride it. So he does, finally comes back. Then he wants to have another conversation. I'm like, dude, come on. Wet T-shirt contest here, man. And I was in a white T-shirt. I'm like, come on, man. Just give me the ticket and let's call it good. Yeah, but they got me, dude. They got me. I thought you'd have been proud.
That is good. As fast as you normally drive. That's why I let you drive back from the Derby sometimes when we carpool out there.
Well, and I slowed down. I mean, I did slow down because in all honesty, I was going a little faster than that. But if he says 85, that's good. So I'll begin the next phase, which I think I can take driver's ed. I don't know. I don't know what that ticket situation is. So anyway,
I thought he gave you.
He gave me a ticket. He said had the conditions not been so adverse and you were being so unsafe, I'd probably give you a warning. And I said, well, you can still do that. And he goes, no. He said that you can't drive like that. I'm like, okay. So anyway, we got done. I signed whatever, and he said, just be safe. Think about slowing down. I said, okay. We took off, and I'm about 5 miles down the road. I look down. I'm going about 95 again. So I did think about it.
For a little bit, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he gave you a warning. I didn't know he actually gave you the full-fledged ticket. So
yeah, he did. So anyway, that was my trip down there. So I did slow it down. But anyway, it's a good trip, and just a good drive. But man, what was with the storm? I mean, that was ridiculous. I mean, Houston. I mean, I was like on the verge of hydroplaning. I'm like, dude, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Well, we need the rain.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't need it to come on Saturday and Sunday is when we don't need it. But
yeah.
it's just everybody wonders why racing schedules are set up the way they are. Like the way that it works is you try to have. That's why everybody starts in March, because when you get to the end of April and the first part of May, you always have a couple of rainouts right in there. And there sometimes it just happens to work out that way where you get a couple of rainouts in a row, which is not necessarily good. Good for the racetracks. It's good for the environment, so to speak.
April showers bring May flowers. So
it just kept raining and raining and raining, and it didn't have anything else to do. So it was odd. It's odd being off the last couple of weeks. I mean, I had some grand plans for some of the funds for the for the ability to announce, and some of those plans are going to get cut in half because the races got cut in half.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, 15th will crank. Most people, 15th moving forward, we'll get it all cranked up, and that Memorial Weekend is going to be a pretty busy one. There's lots of stuff going on. We'll talk about that moving forward. But so we're going to talk to Jake here at 7. But the Saturday race, at 7. The Friday race. So Matt Craig wins that one over Connor Okrezik, and Okrezik in full control of that one. And they come down for a restart, and I mean Okrezik called himself stupid. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I think that's just one of those things where you can have it. We saw it yesterday with Larson. I mean, you have it well in hand, and then you come down to it, and Matt Craig does what he needs to do, and Matt Craig wins that one. Stole that one.
Well, sometimes you steal them versus winning them, and sometimes you lose them without trying. Sometimes you just try too hard and can lose them. Obviously, that's what happened yesterday. In the Cup race, you see it all the time, but. What is it? You lose more than you win most times. So that's, right. That's just the way you got to take it. You end up taking it from somebody right there after they dominated all day. Same thing happened when we went down to the Derby with Derek Thorne, dominated all day. And then Ty Majeski took it, stole it right there at the very end.
Yeah. I mean, all you got to do is lead the last lap. I mean, we've seen, and we're seeing that a lot more nowadays. It seems like where you do have dominating performances. I mean, we see it. I mean, in every aspect of it, it seems like you've got dominating performances coming from drivers, and then when it comes down to the end, I mean, they're not able to win it, and I mean that's good. I mean, it sucks for the guy or lady that leads the majority of the races, but when it comes down to it, you just got to lead one, and that's the name of the game.
No, Keselowski proved that at Talladega that he only led the one lap, and that was the white flag lap, the money lap. So that sometimes that's all it takes is that you just need to go to the checkers. So you're going that. I like Shane's post there. We've had that conversation before. Yeah,
she was getting a lot of run. There was a lot of folks excited there, and I mean that's great. I mean, good. I mean, if they're talking about you, you're doing something right. Boy, I got a hell of a window glare over here. Yeah, if they're talking about you, you're doing something right. That's all that matters.
Well, not well, as long as you're talking positively about you, that's one thing. If they're
Yeah.
talking negatively about you, that's something else. I guess making noise about you is something that this is more positive than negative sometimes. But yeah, who knows how that's all going to shake out. So,
Hey,
um,
I meant to ask you. So a while ago when we were talking about the Kentucky Derby and all that, man, when I was talking about Bob Baffert and kind of playing an underdog role and doing all this other stuff, when I had all these great thoughts about that horse winning that race, I probably should have went and put some money down, huh?
you probably should have. I ended up Hot Rod Charlie ended up being third in a close race, but yeah, you should have put a little bit of money. Don't be like Mattress Mac in Houston and lose a couple of $1 million.
Well, here's I don't have any of that. I don't even have 1 million. I don't even have 1,000 at the moment. Hell, I don't even have 100 at the moment. So I should have went out and thrown down a $25 or a trifecta or whatever they call it. And but again, when it comes down to stuff like that, we talk about all these great race teams and everything that they do well. I mean, you see it in horse racing right there, where you get a guy like Bob Baffert who was supposed to have. I think when I was reading that, he was supposed to have 6 or 7 horses in the Derby, whether it be injury or just they felt it wasn't ready. The thoroughbred wasn't ready. I mean, he only came down to 1, and he was downplaying. He said this horse is probably mid-pack, and then when you get down to it, that horse wins, and that's the mind games right there. I mean, and mind games is different in horse racing because hell, the horse don't know what you're talking about, but the jockeys and the trainer sure as hell do.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But let's see here. So you got Medina Spirit, the Mandalon, and then Hot Rod Charlie took third place. I was really surprised. I thought that Hot Rod Charlie be a little bit closer. They had a chance to do a little bit better, but he came in with really good odds. So
yeah,
look, we got a little Barker here in the show.
Speaking of thoroughbreds, we got a thoroughbred down at the South Studio, so that's all well and good. I mean, that's the beauty of live radio here, is that you do get that added taste right there.
I decided to come bump in here to the. I guess he thinks I'm supposed to feed him, even though I fed him before the show started.
Mm-hmm. I saw, and I don't know if this is I'm sure it's going to be public here at some point. Maybe it's on the Cotton Bowl schedule. But I saw something where I think on June 19th, there's going to be a monster truck show. I think I'd probably have to go back and look at that, and I hope that I'm not putting the cart before the horse here. I don't think that they'll care that I'm talking about it. I mean, any pub is good, but I believe there's going to be a monster truck show out there.
On June 19th, we'll actually be we'll be in Edna. That's the Revved Up Sports Show night at Edna on June 19th. That's Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, June 19th, Monster Truck Show. Yeah, that'll be great. I think they'll get some good folks out there. That's a good place for that. You got plenty of room out there, man. Get on out there and do your thing. I think that'll be great.
I think so. I mean, I think it's the best place for it. If you really think about the way the place is, wide open, able to come through there and get a lot of good stuff. So yeah, that should be a good race. It's not on their main schedule.
Yeah. No, I think it got added. So hey, if the weekend's open, lease that baby out and let's do something.
Hell yeah! As long as the gates are open, that's all that matters.
You ain't never lie. All right, let's go to the hotline. We're coming off of a great weekend. I was privileged to be a part of it. I was just so excited to see the place open up, and the lady, she was with us last week. We previewed it. She made it happen, and I can only imagine the emotions that she felt. On the hotline is our friend Gina Shile Knowles. Gina, how you doing, friend?
I'm good. How are you, Rodney? Hey, Bobby.
We're good. We're good. How are you coming off of that?
I'm exhausted. Really, it's I've forgotten how hard the first race is when when all of the unsureties are there.
Yeah.
So
no doubt about it.
But I'm happy. I'm happy about it. When things are really challenging and you're constantly dealing with it, and you're in the trenches and you're in the thick of it on race day, you don't take it in and appreciate it. And that's a hard thing to do when these little things are hitting you and you're putting fires out and you're spreading yourself thin. But man, the outpouring from everyone has been fantastic. The messages. So I'm very happy. I'm very appreciative, and I'm ready to knock out another one.
I heard that. I heard that. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
So Gina, you'll get the chance here in a couple of weeks to knock out another one. But all in all, it seemed like everybody was supportive and buying into the vision that you had for Mobile, and we've talked about that before.
This time by it'll be 20.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Got some video.
Oh, that
playing.
sounded good. Yes. The racers are on board. You know, it's a bit different than what they're normally used to. When we did the town hall with them over there and asked them questions, you know, the pure stock guys and some of the guys pay for a pit pass and they race. And that was it. And they got free transponders, and you know, that was it. And that freaked me out a little bit, you know, because we don't race like that here. And actually, I don't remember racing like that, but I get it. I definitely get it for sure. And what you have to do is you just have to be honest with them and say, look, this place seats 8,500 people. And there was a time and day where that was full. And as a promoter, if my stands are full and things are rocking and rolling, heck yeah, that's going to 100% trickle down to the racers. I would definitely, that's how I would do my back gate. That's a good promoter that did that. We're just not there right now. And if we don't do it smart now, we won't be able to grow it, and we won't be able to stick around. It won't last. It's just in a totally different place than it was. And I'm not saying it can't be back there. I'm just saying we've got to lay the path to go back there, and we have to do it together. I can't do it without the racers. I absolutely, positively cannot do it. We have a great team, and we've got to kind of be smart about everything, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Gina, I think so much of it was, I mean, because I was so amazed with the place. I mean, because you allowed people in, you could come in, you could buy a pit pass, you go in there. I could not believe the line would not stop. I mean, what do you think? And listening to all the radio chatter, it's like, I got 8 more cars out here. Can we get them in here in a safe manner? I mean, how did that make you feel?
Stressed, but excited over the excitement of fans to come see racing again. It really was a good feeling, but it was super stressful that, you know, what is the track going to do? You know, what I mean is we didn't really know what to invest in. We didn't know what the track would do when it was put under pressure. And what I mean by that is the bathroom. Mm-hmm. We didn't know, you know, we don't have a history or knowledge of that, of what if the, you know, septic system was going to, you know, make it through under pressure. We didn't know about the concession stand. You know, that was one of our bad places, the concession stand stuff. We had some challenges there. We had some challenges in the bathroom. You don't know that until you put stress on the system. And that was what stressed me about having fans there is I didn't want to present the track in a poor light and upset people that are local. You know, I wanted to try to do the best we could. And I feel like we did that. And I feel like the racing was really good.
Yeah, I agree totally.
So Gina, so what's the next step now? You've got one race in your belt over there at Mobile. You've had a chance to evaluate. Obviously, we wanted you to take a day or two to catch your breath, which it sounds like you're trying to do, even though it's hard for you to step away from anything dealing with racing. So how's the next step go? Is it something that you get with Bo about? Is it something that you get with your little inside team that you got? I mean, what's the next step to work for race number 2?
Just have to look at what we were challenged with. What are we going to do to make another step closer to our goals that we have set in 2022? And you just have to look at it on paper and decide here's what all we have to improve on. Which ones are we going to focus on this next go round? And, you know, I don't know. There's not a roadmap, and you don't know if the choices you're making are smart because you've never been here. All you can do is do whatever it is you're doing, whatever choice you make and what you decide you think needs to be done, or whatever that it's done to the best of your ability. And all of it really, I'm the one that gets tagged on Facebook and thanked. And man, it's so many, it's all of us. There's all of us working, doing it together, and the racers included.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep growing and moving forward, when we face challenges, we address them. We just have to keep the wheel, turning, just like we did at Houston, and just like what we're trying to do. MIS is in kind of the same predicament that Houston was. We just got to get the wheel going in a positive direction.
Yeah. It really seems like from everyone that I talked to, whether it be throughout the night or afterwards, or hell, even Sunday morning. I mean, because there was still such a buzz going on around there.
Mm-hmm.
It really seems that everyone understands that, yes, 2021, yeah, of course we all want more races, but they understand that this is a very big picture and a lot of things have to happen. This is a little bit of a test run, and I think people truly do understand that.
I think so too. I really do. And I feel that, and I just I hope that we can hit their expectations, and I hope that the team we have, we keep clicking along, because I couldn't do it without them.
Right.
So, Gina, how hard is it to focus back on Houston now? Obviously, you've got another couple of races in Mobile before you get back to H&P. Is it hard to balance both of them, or are you one of those that can work on one at one time and then work on the other at the other time?
I have like really very little organization on which one to work on, because they both go they go together. The next race is May 29th at H&P, and that's our first truck tour race. That's one of four that races that has the special points, the $10,000, the $10,000 points fund. So I want to focus on that. I want to make that work, and Houston is a fantastic track. So now I want to try to get some of the Mobile guys, or the Alabama guys, or Florida guys to come see us, like the Texas guys did.
Yeah. I talked to some guys that were like, man, we want to check out Houston, and that's the hardest part. I mean, because that's a barrier there that's always been there, where Florida, Alabama, whatever, Mississippi, they won't come to us. But that's a work in progress. Have to ask you, I was so excited to see, man, the Outlaws at H&P have just, I love them, but man, they have just, I want to wring my own neck every time that I don't see them showing up. When we dropped the green flag the other day, and there's 13 of them, wasn't that just so cool?
It sure was. It really was. And having Greg Davidson in there was kind of the icing on the cake, because it was a good race with more cars than usual, and it was a pleasure to see. I don't know what the classes are. Honestly, growing the field and finding our local classes is what we're doing this year. We know what we want. What we ran there this past weekend is what we want our base, to be our local classes, and we want to plug in, sprint cars. We want to plug in pro late models, legacies. We want to super stocks. We want to figure out how to find the balance of the shows that complements, growing the show. And so it was fantastic to see, a class actually like the Outlaws, like you said, that struggles with car count in Houston, have a better car count.
Yep.
So Gina, let's talk about the upcoming race. Obviously, you've got your feedback now. We've got the stuff rolling for Mobile. When you take a step back and you look at all the stuff that really gets accomplished, it's almost as if people take for granted sometimes that it's just as easy as flipping on the lights, as we talked about with you before. When you look at this next upcoming race coming forward, what's the one thing that you want to concentrate on the most? Is it getting the fans back in the stands, or is it getting the racers back on the racetrack, or is it a little bit of both?
This next race at H&P, it's on a holiday weekend, and so I really would like to focus on presenting a good show, and we're going to be doing some advertising on this one. So I kind of want to, I don't know, I kind of want to, show off Houston again. Houston is a spectacular track, just like Mobile. It doesn't quite have the history or the historical on a national level, but man, it's a beautiful track. I talked to some Mobile racers who came to Houston for the first time, and they were blown away. Just like we know because we see it, all the time. Or that's our track. But really, it's about. I think this race is going to be about the presentation and seeing what we're going to have visiting us. From other places.
Yeah. And I think that the footprint is there. I mean, because I think folks really get it now, because I heard folks saying, thank you, Houston, and all of that. And I mean, it is so much about the series. I mean, we race at Houston, but I mean, it's a series, to tie it all together. So
right.
I have to ask you about Mobile, because that was one of those things. I think for me, being an older guy and growing up at tracks, I got there, and it just the track took me over, and that's there's I'm sure that's what happened to you, and that's you get there, and it's like it just embraces you. It's crazy, isn't it?
It really is. It's mesmerizing, and it's as crazy and idiotic as it sounds. It just is, and you really look at it and you really think about it, and then the racers talk to you, and it just makes things, makes you really want to risk a lot more, because you can almost visualize how good it'll be, how good it could be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I tell you, one of my favorite things, and there was many from this weekend, was the messages, of course, just like at H&P, that I get afterwards. And there were two young racers there that were fourth generation racers.
Wow.
That got to race at a track that they've heard stories about their grandpa racing or their dad or whatever. And they've heard, all the stories and never got to race there. And they got to race. They got to race there. And that, man, that just, those are some of my favorite, because that is a big deal. That is why I think when things are hard and you're struggling with putting it together, when you make choices that don't work and they cost you a lot of money, when you get those stories and someone actually approaching you or sending you a message or whatever and tell you that, that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Gina, I know that you love racing history. Obviously, when you put together that reunion for Myers Speedway Park a couple of years ago, I guess more than a couple of years ago now, you're a steward of racing history, especially around in Houston. It's got to be cool for you to start learning the backgrounds and a whole nother set of racing history now that you've been involved over in their Mobile for the last couple of months.
It is. Well, first of all, again, I'm getting credit for the reunion, and it was a lot of people and that put it together, and David Starr included, and Carol Lewis, Kent Lewis's daughter. Man, she did more than anything. My mom did it. Annette Hamlin, they really did it, and I just get credit, but I was involved. But still, it is the same thing. Over there, there's a banquet hall on the property. I don't know if you saw it, Rodney. It's the building in the back, the big metal building.
I heard some stories about that place. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I would have taken you in there. When you go in there, it's the same thing we have here. It's the same thing that Playland Park or Pan America or Myers Speedway, all of those, CTS, that it's the same thing, and it's a community, and they have the same community there. And that's super important. That is, honestly, I think that is what helps tracks make a good comeback.
Yeah.
And it's the community rallying around what they really love, and that is racing.
I want to go jump in the ring. I want to go jump in that ring. I was told about the wrestling ring in there. I've always wanted to bounce off the ropes and flip and do all this other stuff. So that would be me. That would be me. I have to ask you. So when the pure stocks come out to start the show, and I'm sitting up there, and like I texted you earlier, I forgot that there weren't people in the stands. and they come out, they're pacing, and then green flag. David throws that green flag. And, I mean, what are you thinking? Oh, my God. I know I went crazy. I think I couldn't feel my fingers and my toes. I was so excited about that first green flag.
Yep. I really got goosebumps and brought tears to my eyes because it was something that last 6 months ago or whatever was just a thought and a possibility. And many times when we'd get to a point to where it was a big deal or negotiation or whatever, I kept thinking, I would think, man, are we going to make it? Am I crazy? Can we make this happen? And we move to the next phase, and you move to the next phase. And it's kind of surreal because it's happening.
Yeah.
It's by far not done. And it's not like, oh, okay, we're here, but we're moving forward. The ball is rolling.
Right. Right. Exactly. So before we cut you loose, and again, thanks for taking the time. I mean, I know it's been just a roller coaster for you guys. Folks were asking about the grandstands, and again, a lot of people knew. I mean, like you said last week, the locals knew. They're like, no, nobody needs to be up there. I had some folks that were messaging me asking if it was COVID related, which obviously this wasn't. The timetable there's work that needs to be done. I mean, I went up there, and it's obviously not safe at the moment. So kind of the timetable with that and what we may be thinking, with these next 3 events coming up.
Well, we've purchased bleacher seating, the aluminum seating out of a football stadium in Jackson, Mississippi. So we're replacing the boards, and what we're only going to do the center section.
Okay.
Probably looking at maybe 1,000 to 1,500, and then I've got banners I've got to sell to sponsors that cover the rest. They go from the bottom seat up 20 foot, so no one can call. Basically, it's what you see being done in the stadiums right now for COVID. You're blocking off, but these are advertising spots. These are banners that I've got to sell because that's an expensive banner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 20 foot tall, so that's what we're doing. Timeline, we have the bleacher seating. We got to start replacing it. When we put that aluminum, we're pulling that board off, putting an aluminum seat down. We're taking the wooden seats that are good and blocking off that fall through space. That's the problem area. I mean, there's bad wood. We could replace wood, although it's outrageously expensive right now. Even if we just did the wood that those stands were built so long ago, that fall through space is way too much.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
It's a long.
I mean, a person like me could misstep and fall where you set your feet in the stands and just roll right out.
Yeah. I mean, Gina, if I sat up there for a whole racing program drinking Bud Lights all night, I'd fall through. I promise you I'd fall through because at some point I'd lean back.
I think there's many of us that could say that same thing.
Yeah.
But as a mom who of a racer and a daughter of a racer, whatever, niece, when you watch races and let's say you had your kids, you stand up and sit down,
right.
and your kids are just very simply, it takes just a second for them to disappear underneath.
Yep.
So just all the stories I've heard about racing, I've heard just as many about their kid fell through or they fell through the stands when they were little. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally they'll come up and say, yeah, he fell through the stands when he was, 6 years old. So, and my family personally, I have 2 cousins that fell through the stands at Meyer Speedway. So, luckily I haven't heard any tragedies and I don't want to, but it just is what it is. We're doing everything we can to open some stands. That is for sure. Yeah. But I love how the pits are. Man, I really was stressed about it, and but the tailgating. Yeah. Did you see?
Big time.
I'm gonna post. Someone brought a love seat and left their love seat.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
They were playing beanbag. What's beanbag thing called? They were playing that and tossing the football. I mean, that seriously felt like a snowball derby Thursday or Friday. That was impressive.
Right. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going. We are doing everything we can to make sure some fans can come in, more fans can come in and get back in those stands. I mean, we need the stands. We do.
Yeah.
Racers racers like to show off for
Sure.
people.
Sure.
And it's really hard to watch the race without being in the stands. That track is big and beautiful, but like at Five Flags, some of the trailers get in the way. So being in the stands is very important.
Cornhole, that's right. Yep.
Yes,
absolutely.
Cornhole, that's it.
Absolutely.
But Roddy, I can't thank you enough. Bobby, I hope we see you out there. But all the team, man. I was so stressed, and I probably my biggest regret is I didn't thank the team enough for everything that they do. I mean, to come out there, to do things, it weighs on you heavily when you've got people tracking out there to that far to help you build something.
Yeah.
To help you do something. The 4T4 guys, man,
yeah.
Todd Kempkin on, he's the track steward. He lets people on and off the track at H&P. So many people have been doing things. Bo, man, I mean, it's just, it's a lot. And I'm very, very grateful for that help. And I didn't quite show that on race day because I was so stressed and just maxed out. And I hate that I was probably a little more aggressive when I was freaking out over things than I should have been.
All good. There's a lot going on.
Yep.
All right, Gina, one last thing before we cut you loose. What is the details on the next race in Mobile while everybody's coming in listening? I know everybody knew about it on Saturday night and was talking about it then, but why you've got a chance, what's the next set of races coming up in Mobile?
Okay, let's see. Let me pull the schedule because for some reason I have a different date stuck in my head.
I got it.
Mobile.
June 6th.
Yeah.
I kept saying it.
May 29th is HMP. Sorry, it's June 5th, actually.
5th.
June 5th.
Okay.
I do the same thing.
Oh, great.
June 5th at Mobile. That's what, we're focused on. We're going to knock Houston out. We're going to promote the advanced auto parts, the truck tour, those trucks, and we're going to see how that class shakes out. It is a discount. This race is a discounted race. If HMP is your home track, if HMP is your away track, whether you are a truck, an outlaw, or a modified, the discounts that we published, and I'll put them up again, will apply at this race. So if you're going to travel and you want to try it out, come try HMP. This is the race to do it. Because you do get some discounts, if this is your away track. And then vice versa, the HMP guys, when MIS is your away track, your first discount is the June 26th race.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. I'm
anxious to see if we can get some people moving. And I understand if you can't, run your local show, but I'm excited about being back at HMP, and I'm hopeful and excited about any of the MIS guys coming because I think they're going to love it. I think they're really going to love Houston.
Yeah. Gina, and we did put our stamp on the Holiday Inn, so
well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And your man Greg Davidson, by the way, is one of the cardiac kids there that wouldn't let me go to bed. Figures, doesn't it?
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, good stuff. Congratulations, Gina. That sure was fun. Thank you for the opportunity. I sure love that. That was really cool. Can't wait to get back at it. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Take care.
All right. See you later, Gina.
There she is. That lady, I tell you, Energizer Bunny. What a service she did, man. That the Mobile folks were really appreciative, and I kept laughing because so many folks kept coming up and they were like, Miss Gina. I'm like, who the hell's Miss Gina? You mean Gina? It was cool. It was cool. It was really cool. They were so excited, and that's great. I mean, that community loves that racetrack, and they showed up. I mean, they showed up.
That's good though. It's good that the foundation there. The foundation was there, right? It looked probably a little cracked. As a realtor yourself, sometimes you got to put a little tender love and happiness into certain properties to get them back up to the standards that you want to share with the family. So, a little bit more polish to that old place. It looked fun on Saturday night. Even I know that sometimes the video feeds don't do places justice, but man, it made that place look pretty damn fast there on pretty damn fast there on
Yeah.
Saturday night. So
Well,
I don't think it disappointed.
And I was telling Mason and some of the guys, I said, yeah, I need some elbow grease and whatever. I said, but let's not grease it up too much. I said, because like those pictures we look at of North Wilkesboro and all of that, I mean, that's really what the concessions, I mean, all of that, that's what it looks like. And I'm like, let's not modernize this too much, because it is. It's one of those, I think you'd have felt the same way. You walk in and it grabs you. It grabs you. And I mean, that's kind of like, my whole lusting that I'm having for Waco. I mean, it's old school. You walk into this thing and it just pulls you in. So it was a good night. It was a great night. And, man, I can't wait to go back. But we got Houston coming up. So let's get at it. And I will tell you, fans in the grandstands at Houston, I was talking to some folks up in the tower over at Mobile. And I honestly, dude, between all of the folks that were tailgating inside the track, dude, we'd have been almost half full at Houston. There were that many people in there.
Wow.
There's a shitload of people in there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I know I'm actually going to, as of right now, we'll miss the next race in Houston coming up there on Memorial Day weekend. But, sometimes when you have family obligations, you have to do the family obligations first. Not that I don't want to go to H&P, but, every once in a while you got to do the family stuff first. But that June 5th race there, Mobile is probably calling my name. I think the biggest thing is just getting off on Friday, try to get down there. I don't think you can fly directly into Mobile from Austin. You probably got to fly from Austin to Atlanta.
Got to go Pensacola,
and then take a hot shot Atlanta to Mobile.
What I was told is you can go to Pensacola and then kind of jet. I don't know how it would happen, but anyway. But yeah, folks, get out there. But first, get to Houston, and like Foray says right there were so many people that came over and were just thanking the driver, thanking the Texas people for being a part of this, and that's and it's not about thanks, it's not about anything, and like Gina was talking about, there's so many people have done a lot. I mean, people were thanking me. I didn't do shit. I showed up on Friday and I was blabbing my mouth, but so many folks have done a lot. But the great story, like I posted on Facebook, was an older lady came up to me and she gave me a big old hug. She asked if she could hug me, and I said sure. Gave me a big old hug and kind of touched my face, and she said, I thank you for coming from Texas to help bring the place back. She's like, you're kin. Now you're kin. I said, now that's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about.
That's just a Southern Alabama thing, dude.
I know. Oh, I know.
Did you wear your Alabama hat?
Hell yeah, I did. I wore it at one point. I didn't take a lot of pictures because I knew I'd get murdered over here. But yeah, oh yeah, I did.
That's good.
Roll Tide.
Did you have it on when you got pulled over? That's probably why I gave you the ticket if you had your Alabama hat on.
No, I didn't have it on. I don't think I was wearing anything when I got pulled over. Maybe that's why I got a ticket.
All you got to do is just make them laugh. If it wasn't raining, you'd have been all right. Remember that time I got pulled over going to TMS?
Yeah, that's right.
The troopers, like, why did you go so fast? Like, to be perfectly honest, you have a really great spot, and I could not slow down once I saw you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Good weekend at Mobile, and looking forward to going back. But we're going back to the hotline, as we just have just great guests here talking to Gina. And now we're going to talk to a young dude that put on one heck of a show on Saturday night, as the Pro Late Models had the back-to-back over at Pensacola. Then they went over to Montgomery, and this is the man that found himself in victory lane. We're talking to the driver of number 35. It is Mr. Jake Garcia. Jake, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Doing extremely well, man. Doing extremely well. How about you? Has the excitement of all of that worn off quite yet?
Yeah, I think so, but it was definitely really cool and an exciting night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Jake, let's talk about you first. Obviously, a lot of people know you from your late model stuff now, but obviously, you've got a little bit of racing background before there. Talk about your racing before you got up to the big spotlights with these big cars.
Yeah, so when I was 5, I started racing, and I started in quarter midgets, and then kind of moved my way up and started on the full-size midgets, along with some races in the Allison Legacy Series. And then from there, I went to late models.
Nice. So out of Monroe, Georgia. So talk about kind of the pipeline there. The beauty of it there is no matter what, whether it be quarter midgets or there are so many different places where you can hone your skills. So many different places where you can race.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool to be able to race in all those series that I've raced in and be able to kind of get a handle on a lot of different race cars. And I think the more stuff you drive, the better you can be. So it's definitely cool to be able to drive all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So, Jake, I'm going to talk about the Allison Legacy cars there for a little bit. Everybody I know that's raced those really likes them. It seems like the knock against them now is they don't have an updated body like the late models do. But everybody I've talked to that runs those said they got a really good power to weight ratio. Is that something that you're able to kind of to carry over some of the driving techniques into your pro late model?
Well, yeah. I haven't raced one in a while. Just kind of something that we had to get me used to shifting. And yeah, they're pretty powerful cars for how small they are. They've got a pretty good amount of grip, so it's definitely cool to be able to get a feel for something that's like a stock car, but with not actually being in one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll talk about the win here in just a couple of minutes, but we always ask guys that go from the super to the pro, and talk about the differences there. Obviously, the super, I mean, it's all horsepower. It's all let's go. I mean, you hit it and it goes. Pro, maybe you got to drive it a little bit different. Talk about the differences there and challenges for you as a driver.
Yeah, there's quite a few differences between the super and the pro. Just the power difference is really big, and so you got to kind of get used to one and know what you have to do in each of the cars to be able to be successful. So there's definitely different techniques as far as tire saving and qualifying and all that stuff goes. You gotta definitely drive the cars different, and some tracks, even the lines around the racetrack are a little bit different. So it's there's definitely a lot of differences between the racing and driving them, with just the chassis being the same, but the motor being different.
Right.
So, Jake, where is Monroe, Georgia, and what's the closest track that you get a chance to run? I know Georgia is missing a couple of those world famous asphalt tracks that they had before, like Peach State, or I guess now it's Gresham Motorsports Park in Lanier. Where's the closest track for you to go with your hometown being in Monroe?
Yes, we live in Monroe, which is just outside of Athens, Georgia, and I think the closest track to us is in Georgia. It's in Cordele, Georgia, Chris Motorsports Park. They host a few Southern Super Series events throughout the year, along with weekly Pro Late Model series.
So Jake, what is it that you do? Because I mean, we follow the late models out in the Southeast so close, here in Texas, because we don't have any. So we follow you guys so close, and man, it never fails. You are always so consistent, man. We've seen you in person. You are just so calm, cool, and collected behind the wheel. Talk about that. I mean, we see a lot of young drivers your age that maybe they'll slip up, man. But you were just so smooth.
Yeah, it's definitely really important to stay cool and even keeled when you're in the race car. It's never going to help you to be frustrated, and usually if you get frustrated or angry or whatever the case may be, you end up making a mistake. So it's definitely important to stay calm no matter what the circumstances are, and just kind of calmly think about what you need to do to put yourself in the best position you can.
Oh, that's great to hear. That is so great to hear.
I'm just looking at the map of Monroe, seeing how close it is to some of my kinfolk over in Georgia. So that's good that there's a little bit of connection. Jake, I got family that lives outside of Athens too, on the way about in between there and Lake Hartwell, there at the South Carolina border. But it's good, lots of good racing out there, a lot of dirt tracks, lots of good racing. So talk about your team. Obviously, you've got a really good crew chief with you that helps you learn, and he's got a lot of racing experience in his own. So what is his technique for teaching you as far as yourself as a race car driver? Are you one of those that you got to go out and learn it on your own? Are you able to take the feedback from your crew chief? Talk about how you adjust yourself as a driver as you start learning these cars more and more.
Yeah, so my crew chief is Ricky Turner, and he's really helped me out a lot. Driving them pretty much taught me how to drive these cars and what to do in certain situations, and it's really helped me out a lot. he's taught me a lot about, from his experience driving. He's really taught me a lot. And I think, if you have a crew chief, it's really important that he knows what it's like to be behind the wheel and can put himself in your shoes and be able to teach you better that way. Definitely really helpful to have him around.
Absolutely. Another guy I want to ask you about. I mean, one of our great friends of the program is Jared Fryer. I mean, the Fryer family. I mean, just so much history here in Texas. I know Snowball. I mean, talk about Jared Fryer. I know he spots for you. Talk about that guy. That's another guy, much like yourself, where he's just so steady and so good behind the wheel. That's got to be a good guy to have in your ear.
Yeah, he's been a good friend of mine for a while now, and like I said before, it's important to have somebody on your side that can put themselves in your shoes and knows what I need to hear on the radio, and when he's spotting for me, he can tell me things that he thinks are important to him when he's driving. So
yeah,
he's definitely really helpful, and like you mentioned, his family's got a lot of history in racing.
That's right.
So, Jake, do you find it better to have a spotter that has race experience versus somebody that's just a friend of yours that's trying to spot for you? I mean, everybody we've talked to said that the spotter used to be a race car driver. They can anticipate stuff better on the racetrack than just one of the buddies that's never raced. Do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah. There's definitely some aspects where the race car drivers that have gone to be spotters are a little bit better, but at the same time, a lot of these spotters are full-time spotters, and that's what they do. So they're obviously really good at it as well, and they've gotten a lot of experience, and they kind of know what to anticipate as well, just from being on the spotter stand for so long.
Super important. So let's talk about this weekend. You didn't have the night you wanted at Five Flags, but just in true fashion, the way you do. I mean, you gather it back up, you get out, you qualify well over at Montgomery. Talk about the end of that race. I mean, yourself and Tullis, you get out there and you guys are racing each other clean. And here's Jim Wall sitting right in the middle of the track. That had to be such a high intensity situation.
Yeah, I was kind of catching Christopher pretty quickly there at the end of the race. I think I had my tires a little bit cooler than he did, a little bit fresher. So it's definitely, lap traffic was definitely a factor there at the end. Then in the closing laps, we had kind of caught a pack of cars, kind of negotiating through them. But the whole time I was catching them, and then there was like 5 to go. I kind of thought that I didn't have much of a chance because I was so far behind him. But I managed to kept reeling them in, and there in the last couple of laps, I kind of realized that I had a pretty good shot at it. So then on the last lap, I got to his back bumper in 1 and 2, and got to his outside. And then going down into 3, the lap car was there, like you said, but I was just kind of planning on rolling him on the top and just trying to carry some momentum and just beat him that way. But he I guess he drove it in too deep, or I'm not really sure what happened, but he came up the racetrack and kind of hooked himself across my nose there, and he had some contact with the lap car, and I think we all kind of just slid around for a little bit, but I ended up crossing the line first, getting the win.
That was awesome. That was great.
So, Jake, how much of your driving style do you change when you run from Pensacola to Mobile? Is it hard to unlearn a track and try to get into the groove with the next track when you run back-to-back weekends like that?
Yeah, well, Pensacola, and Montgomery are a lot different racetracks. Pensacola's got way bigger corners, and Montgomery's a little bit more paperclip shaped. So there's definitely a few things to change. I think you can drive Pensacola a little bit harder. And, Montgomery is not as much grip. It's not as fast. So kind of have to take your time with that one. But yeah, there's a few things that change from track to track as far as driving style go, and it just kind of comes with time and being able to go to these racetracks and figure out what you need to do for each of them.
Mm-hmm. Is there one of these tracks that you prefer? I mean, obviously, I mean, you go out and you race them all. But I mean, you talked about Crisp, closest to you, and Pensacola, and all of this. I mean, is there one for Jake Garcia that is the one where you see it on the calendar and you're like, all right, I cannot wait to get there?
Well, there's a few tracks that we like,
Nice.
and I've had some success at some more than others, but we always seem to run good at Montgomery, in the pro late model and the super late model, and we've had a lot of success at Five Flags as well. 2019 we won the Allen Turner championship there, and finished second in the Snowball Derby, which was really big accomplishment. And then last year we had a couple podium finishes, couple second place finishes in the Blizzard series that they have down there. So we've shown some speed at these racetracks. So definitely anticipate going to both of them and learning a little bit each time we go out.
Absolutely.
So, Jake, I got one last question before we let you go, because you're still kind of a young guy, or actually not kind
Very
of a young guy.
young
You
guy.
are a young guy. Who were some of your racing heroes growing up? Were you like a local short track guy, like some of your local short tracks heroes, or were you a bigger picture guy and really found to attach yourself onto like a Cup Series guy?
Well, when I was little, I always liked to watch the NASCAR races, and kind of kept up with that as best as I could. It's kind of the reason I wanted to get into racing, was because I watched it so much and always had my little toy cars and everything. So, I was about 3 or 4 and started to race quarter midgets when I was 5 there. But yeah, when I was 5 years old, Jimmy Johnson was the only driver that had won a championship in my lifetime. So I kind of picked him, kind of rooted for him. But and I also liked Kyle Busch a little bit because he had the M&M's car.
Yeah.
But
well, I like Jimmy Johnson too, but not for that reason. not quite for that reason. But I mean, that's wow. Yeah, I'm looking at my gray hair here as we're going on. But so Jake, rest of the year for you. I mean, are you Blizzard series? I mean, where all can we expect to see you? I mean, anytime we turn 51 on or whatever, and there's a super race or pro race, you're there. Are you guys in for the duration? Going to follow this thing out here in 2021?
yeah, we're going to try to hit all the Blizzard Series races, like you said, along with the Southern Super Series. And then we're going to try to make it to a lot of the big races, the big super late model races this year, and,
Nice.
and do our best to hit all those and get a handle on some of these other tracks that we've never been to, and get a lot of new experience.
Absolutely. That's perfect. Well, good. We will come see you in Mobile because we will be there for that one for sure. So congratulations on that, man. It just your poise and your patience behind the wheel, never better than what we saw at the end of that race on Saturday. And glad you got that one done, dude. Congratulations. We look forward to more of those coming up in 2021.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Take care.
You too.
You bet. Dude, I wish I was that calm, cool, and collected when I was 16, 17. Nah.
We never did actually ask him how old he was. But
16, I believe.
yeah,
16.
but he made you feel old really good there when you said Jimmy Johnson was the only one that won a championship in there.
Yeah, when he dropped that one, I was like, yeah. I remember when Cale Yarborough won 3 in a row. Yeah, all right. No, that dude. I mean, seriously, it is. I mean, like we were talking about right there. Anytime you watch any of those races, you turn them on, and it's like Jake Garcia right there. And it, I mean, early on, I thought that he was a little bit older, and it took me a while to realize, I mean, how young he is, but he is so good and so cool. Talking about Jared Fryer, I mean, they're cut out of the same tree limb. I mean, those guys are so cool, calm, and collected, and really, really good behind the wheel.
Yeah, I think they are. I think that a lot of it has the calming effect of the spotter. obviously Jared's spotting is going to have an effect on the race car driver there of Jake Garcia. You have that calming voice in the ear,
Right.
and your crew chiefs helps out a lot too. Obviously, Ricky Turner's a former Southern All-Star Series champion, won a lot of big super late model races. I think he might have won a Derby one time. I don't want to misspeak there, but I think Ricky Turner's won the Derby.
Yeah, I think he did
before. But I mean, Ricky. If everybody wonders why that name sounds familiar, Ricky Turner, also crew chief for Chase Elliott when Chase Elliott was coming up through the ranks. Also was the crew chief for Chase Elliott this past 2020 Snowball Derby. So I think that Jake Garcia is in pretty good company right there when you've got him around Ricky Turner and Jared Fryer.
And I think the best part of that conversation right there is listening to him is because we do, we were talking about Rafael Lessard, and again, I'm just using him as an example, to where the sponsorship isn't there, so he's not going to be running that truck. But so many times we hear about these young kids that get into these situations, but you have guys like Jake Garcia, and there are several of them, but it's just like anything else, Bobby. There's only a few that kind of ruin the stigma for all of them, but you've got guys like Jake Garcia that they are so primed and ready to do really, really special things, and you hope that they get that opportunity because they are doing things the right way. They really are doing things the right way. They're aligned with the right people. I mean, talking to him right there, I mean that was such a great conversation. I mean, I felt like I was talking to a 30-year-old guy right there. I mean, he's so balanced, and it's not about him. It's not about him. It's about the success of his race team, and that's refreshing to hear.
Well, I think part of it just starts from the top down.
Right.
Some people say it starts from the bottom up, but obviously, when he starts racing there when he's 5 years old inside a quarter midget, we've heard so many people talk about the quarter midgets and how that was the foundation for them to get started. We know a lot of some of the kids that we know. Jake Wright is one of them that gets started down there in a quarter midget. So when the showstopper comes through and does something like that, it's a good foundation to build off of. But I like that he ran the Allison Legacy cars. Apparently, those are still more popular over there. The series here is building. I always said the biggest knock against the Legacy cars is they don't have an updated body.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes what a Thunderbird is anymore unless you're an old school race fan like us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I think they just don't understand the smaller scaled car. And, it's something that, because I've heard a lot of folks say, well, the sound, they don't have the sound well, no, hell no, they're not going to sound like an Outlaw. I mean, they're not going to sound like a street stock. I mean, they're not built that way. I mean, look at them. I mean, they're different. But it's funny that speaking of bodies. So something that I noticed, and you would have appreciated, I know you would have said the same damn thing. So the other night, we've had the situation there at Houston where it's like super stock versus Outlaw, and it's like people are like, what's the difference? Whatever. Pure stocks come out. It's a steel-bodied Monte Carlo with a Monte Carlo front, 80s Monte Carlo front and tail, and then they race, and then here come the sportsmen, and we saw them in Pensacola. Same difference. So it's like, okay, I was telling somebody, I was like, so could we leave the super stocks here and take the pure stocks here, and then you'd have that balance. So it's funny the way when you go from region to region where over there they have too many steel-bodied classes, in my opinion, for the fans. If the fans were there looking at it, to where here we've got too many radical-looking cars that look the same. So it happens everywhere.
I think the biggest thing, if I remember rightly from when we watched them at the Derby, is the sportsman cars are a little bit bigger wheelbase, or at least they were at one point. I don't know if they still are the same wheelbase now.
I don't know. I mean, that's the question. But I can tell you one thing. I will tell you this. I don't know if a Houston super stock was going to go off the rule book. That's a big if. That's a big Kim Kardashian but if they went off the rule book, I think those sportsmen over there, that would be a good race, because I know the pro stocks prior in Houston, I know there were some engine changes. They were the engine handicapped them versus a super stock, if I remember correctly. But I don't know. Those sportsmen were hauling ass on that half mile. Man, they were blazing around that half mile.
Yeah, all the cars looked like they were flying, but the entry level, if we can call the entry level sportsman and pure stocks, they looked like they were getting it like the old school Chargers used to do down there in San Antonio.
Dude, they sounded just like them. they sounded just like them. You read my mind. They would go by, and San Antonio. I mean, it was the same thing. But who knows? And I think that back to Gina. Let's see if we get some crossover right there. I mean, I know there was some conversation there. Jason Welch was the fast time in the Outlaws. He had to go to the back of the pack. He wound up third, and he and Greg Davidson's story. So Greg was running really well. And then he kind of fell off the pace a little bit, and traffic started coming around, and Greg felt that he was in the way of Jason Welch as Welch was trying to lap him. So Greg, sitting in his wheelchair, says, I got to go talk to him and apologize. And apparently he goes wheeling up to Jason Welch, and Jason Welch is like, oh my God, Mr. Davidson, what a pleasure to meet you, as most people do with Greg. and so Davidson's like, oh, I'd love to see you come to Houston. Jason Welch is like, I think I might do that. So maybe we need to make Greg Davidson the salesman. maybe that's what'll bring him.
Maybe, as long as we get the crossover. I think that it's another thing to feel like you want to be wanted, right? I think that a lot of racers take that for granted. I mean, it's one thing if you're just another car number to another promoter, which most promoters that we know, I think that we know promoters on a different level than most of the other, your average race fans do. Mm-hmm. Most of the promoters that we know is you're more than just a car number. You're an actual face and a person and a family behind that car number. But it's nice to know that you want to be wanted, right? In terms of trying to, because it's not a short drive from Mobile, from Southern Alabama to East Texas. It's not a short drive. You just had it, and we know about it when we go to the Derby. So yeah, it's it just feels good to be wanted, and I think you're going to get some crossover there. Plus, the biggest thing is Gina thought it was going to be a detriment to have the races on those the holiday weekends, but now that they've got an extra day to travel that Monday, that's where you can entice the guys from the Southeast to come out to the Southwest.
Yeah, I have a feeling Houston's going to be pretty good. I mean, and that's where we hope beyond hope. I mean, Memorial Day weekend, usually on Sunday, you always have some sort of weather thing. Hopefully it stays on Sunday so people could come and get their asses back to wherever they're going. But, before the Sunday evening thing that would always come. And I remember watching the 600, and you were here or at the house one time, and we lost all the power because the weather was happening. Mm-hmm. But I do think one of the gains out of the weekend was that folks realized, because it was it was a lot of Texas people there. I mean, there were a couple of races there with the modifieds. I mean, hell, it's all the Texans. I mean, the modifieds are going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge there, but I think that's something that can be overcome. But to establish the local classes, I just think that folks are realizing that, finally understanding that the Texans travel, and it's an equal distance for those folks to travel as well. And I think now that they've been without a track, and they're hungry. They want this. And I think that maybe that's something. And it's still, Florida's still going to be a challenge. I mean, because there's so many tracks there, and now you got the tire difference and everything. But I mean, teams are going to go buy 2 sets of tires a week. It doesn't matter if it's a Hoosier or an American Racer or a Goodyear, whatever it is. I think that one of the things that this weekend solidified is that those folks understand that as Texans, we travel, and that they can do it too. And I think they're more receptive to it now.
Well, I think so. When you go to represent your hometown racetrack, and you go and there in certain classes doesn't have a lot of hometown heroes in it, that doesn't bode well for the confidence, right? I mean, as bad as that sounds, obviously, you expect the hometown, you expect a lot of hometown feel in your lower level classes,
sure,
with your pure stocks and your sportsmen and stuff. You expect all those guys to have the last little digits with the state, say Florida or Alabama,
right?
Maybe a Mississippi guy thrown in there too, just for a little bit of flavor. But when you get to the upper echelon, you go to your trucks. There wasn't as many Texans there for the truck races I thought was going to be there. But I can understand why, because a lot of them are saving their stuff for that truck challenge. Makes total sense. The mods I was a little surprised that not any more heavy hitters came, but as we talked about in text, that most of the mods probably ended up going to Montgomery.
Yeah. That was the deal there. And I mean, Clayton Green. I mean, we hadn't heard Clayton Green in a while. When it came to a modified, and I actually got a message from Dana on Friday, and she said, hey, is the weather okay over there? I said, I don't know, I'm on my way. It's terrible in Texas, which they understood because they are too. Clayton shows up, and dude, man, woo! If he races in Houston, they better be ready because Steve had that car hooked up, man. And good for them. Good for them. I mean, for them to travel all the way over there, first time back in a while. I mean, for them to go run the green, you get people like that. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that you're getting people like that to come back in, and the crossover is going to be there. I mean, remember Jason Marshall told us he would love to go to Mobile. He just couldn't make it this past weekend, and it's going to happen. It's just going to take some time. But when we get to that Southern Super Series race, I mean, I think
that place is going to be packed.
That's going to be the weekend where it's going to explode. It's going to explode, man. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Southern Super Series race, whether I'm there in person or I'll be watching the race from Hawaii, which is still to be determined. I will definitely be tuning into that race one way or the other, either with the eyeballs directly on it or the eyeballs on the TV, because I don't want to miss the chance to go to Hawaii, but I can still watch the race from Hawaii. It's not like it's a third world country over there.
Just 6 hours later. I don't remember.
Later.
But I can tell you, it is going to be cool because, I mean, we see them at Five Flags and how great that is. But over here, this place, and there were comparisons all throughout the people were telling me, I think this is faster than Pensacola. And again, I don't know. I mean, they're both equal. Pensacola used to be like this place where it only had the wall along the front stretch. I mean, you talk to Jim Pallas and all these guys at Slick. They used to go run out there but before it had the wall. But this one still doesn't. Dude, it's a long way down. So the entrance to this place, you go out of turn 4, you come in and you drive onto the track, and it's like if you get seasick, dude, it's a long way down. It is a long way down. That baby is banked pretty nice. It's fast.
Yeah, and like I said, it looked fast on the videos. Mm-hmm. So definitely, if it looks that fast in the videos, that means it's going to feel faster in person. So that definitely, it looked like it was all in all, it was a success. As you wanted a little bit bigger car count, obviously, but I think all in all, trying to raise the track from the dead, looks like everything worked about as good as it could with everything that happened this past weekend in Mobile.
Yeah, I got to tell, I think, and that's a great point. I think the lowest car count was 9, and I'll take that. I mean, seriously, the outlaw thing was really cool. It's like finally. But hopefully we can get them over. But Houston will be fun, and like we said, it's going to be a quiet weekend. We've got the Heart of Texas Demo Derby coming up on Friday. Full slate of racing happening over there, and then it gets pretty quiet as it usually does for Mother's Day. I can tell you here because it didn't happen. Cotton Bowl was actually thinking about trying to possibly do a makeup on Saturday, but there were too many folks that were going to be out of pocket, so they're going to go ahead and skip. But moving forward, once we get to the 15th, I mean, that's when we really get it cranked up. I don't think weather's going to be an issue. You'll have these pop-up things that hurt tracks, but I think now we really get going back here and around the region, the Southeast, and it's go time. It's go time right now.
Yeah, no, it's starting to get hot and heavy. I'm looking at my schedule here. It looks like obviously now that we got the 8th out of the way, it looks like this weekend I-37 is supposed to be running. This weekend on Mother's Day, Saturday. So other than that, then everybody starts kicking off. You got Cotton Bowl on the 15th, South Texas on the 15th.
37's this weekend?
That's what it shows on my calendar. I don't know if my calendar is up to date or not.
Okay. Oh, you know what? No. Didn't they move for – I know they moved some dates around, didn't they, for South Texas?
Maybe they moved. Maybe they moved the date around.
So, somebody
don't quote me on that. I need to double check my calendar.
And the thing is, I mean, and that's the beauty of this is the calendar kind of evolves a little bit because that's where we have this racetrack cooperation where they're like, because the 1333 got rained out at South Texas, so they're kind of scooting dates around. So the South Texas race is going to be good. So I don't know. We'll figure that out and post everything up. But yeah, dates did move. Just because tracks want to help each other out. Damn, what a crazy concept.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. I can't believe that. That's why haven't we done this before?
I think they tried, but there was more racers back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More racers, and actually back then there were more people involved that operated tracks that didn't care about the other tracks. And I think these people now actually care about each other around here. Yeah,
it seems like it's a little bit more. It's not as much cutting off as it was before.
Yes. Great program tonight. Thanks to Gina. Was it me or did Gina sound tired?
She sounded a little.
Yeah.
She sounded a little tired.
Yeah, yeah, just a little bit, as she should be. That was a lot.
All right, so they moved. I pulled it up right here. They've moved the 1333 showdown to Saturday, May 8th, along with the season opener set for Friday, May 7th. I-37 has moved their race from May 8th to May 15th, so their drivers and fans can support opening night and that 1333 showdown at South Texas Speedway.
Oh, so Corpus is this weekend.
Corpus is this weekend.
Huh. Beach trip for Mother's Day. That'd be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Sounds kind of fun.
There you go, friends. There you go, friends. If you're looking for something to do for your mother, take her to the coast. Take her to the coast, and you can catch some short track racing at South Texas Speedway. Great program. Thank you, Gina Shile Knowles, for checking in. Good stuff right there. Thank you, Jake Garcia. Very, very cool dude right there. Cool dude. Like a cool cowboy right there, Jake Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be one to watch. Make sure you tell about it. You heard him first on the Revved Up Sports Show.
Absolutely. Friends, enjoy your week. Weather's going to be good. Get out. Don't forget the mothers over the weekend. Get yourself to South Texas. Come to Waco on Friday. Check out the Demo Derby. It's going to be fun. Follow us right here on this page if you're on Facebook, at RevvedUpATX on Twitter and Instagram. We'll keep you updated with everything going on. Bobby, have a great rest of the week, my man.
I'm definitely going to try.
Absolutely. Friends, be good. Be good to one another. We take care of each other. Good things happen. Have a great week, friends. We are back next week. It's #Real Race Talk from Texas, the Revved Up Sports Show.